Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Today, inshallah, we will be continuing on the second part of the introductory chapter, which is entitled Life in the Perspective of Quranic Revelations, a brief introductory chapter by Hazrat Khalifah Masih Rabi Rahmallah in his book Revelation, Rationality, Knowledge, and Truth. So he, in the next part of the chapter, which he's introducing, the subject of which is called sidedness or chirality in nature. So Hazur says that among all the scriptures, the Quran is unique in highlighting the issue of sidedness in relation to socio-religious behavior. One is surprised to read any significance attached to the right or the left. The same is observed in the conduct and instructions of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the right and left are each portrayed as playing a specialized role in a Muslim conduct. For instance, the right hand is selected for all good things and clean acts. One should eat with the right hand. One should start serving from the right side. One should not touch any filthy object with the right hand, etc. The opposite applies to the left hand. Incidentally, when one shakes hands with a Muslim, he should be confident that he is shaking a hand which is clean. In the comparative fuller discussions of sidedness and chirality, the reader will come across amazing disclosures regarding the phenomenon of sidedness as observed in nature. The reader should bear in mind that this is strongly suggestive of the sameness of the author of the Quran and the creator of the universe. The expression partiality is generally used to indicate that a choice is made without specific reasons leading to that choice. However, in application to God, one's lack of knowledge as to why God is partial to sidedness does not necessarily mean that there is no hidden reason for his selective behavior. As science continues to develop or to delve deeper and deeper into the understanding of the chain of cause and effect, many hitherto inexplicable patterns of natural behavior are being understood. So next is the natural selection and survival of the fittest. Without ambiguity, the Quran repeatedly declares that at every step of creation, choices had to be made, and each time the selector was not the blind operation of natural selection, but the hand of God, the all-seeing, the all-knowing. Again, it is specifically and categorically declared. وَيَوْمَ يُنَادِيهِمْ فَيَقُولُ أَيْنَ شُرَكَائِيَ الَّذِينَ كُنْتُمْ تَزْعُمُونَ. And thy Lord creates whatever he pleases and chooses whomsoever he pleases. It is not for them to choose. Glorified be Allah, and far is he above all that they associate with him. chapter 28, verses 69. The same assertion runs through the following verses. Sorry. These are actually quite lengthy. In today's class, I think that due to time, we will just go to the translation of these verses, which are from chapter 56 to chapter 56, verses 58 to 74. And they read, "We have created you. Why then do you not accept the truth? What think you of the sperm drop that you emit? It is you who created it, or are we the creator? We have ordained death for all of you, and we cannot be prevented from bringing in your place others like you, and from developing you into a form which at present you know not. And you have certainly known the first creation. Why then do you not reflect? Do you see what you sow? Is it you who grow it, or are we the grower? If we so pleased, we could reduce it all to broken pieces. Then you would keep lamenting. We are ruined. Nay, we are deprived of everything. Do you see the water which you drink? Is it you who send it down from the clouds, or are we the sender? If we so pleased, we could make it bitter. Why then are you not grateful? Do you see the fire which you kindle? Is it you who produce the tree for it, or are we the producer? We have made it a reminder and a benefit for the wayfarers." So Huzur says that these verses draw the attention of man repeatedly and emphatically to the fact that it is God who is the creator, and it is He alone who makes choices. The decision making is not left to chance, nor to the things which are themselves being created. At every such moment, it is God who makes the choice and operates as the supreme selector. There is no blind, haphazard selection of characters as life evolves. It is God who, through the trials between life and death, makes it possible for life to evolve in its character, design, style, and mode of survival. In this grand scheme of things, there is no flaw whatsoever, because it is He who governs from the seat of His majesty with absolute wisdom. Nowhere in His creation can one find any flaw or contradiction. The import of these verses is manifestly clear. In the Darwinian hypothesis of the survival of the fittest, as we shall discuss later, there is no guarantee for a flawless operation which must always result in the survival of the fittest. On the contrary, some of those animals which may survive in the struggle may be fit only to survive that particular challenge. As far as the more evolved qualities of life are concerned, however, the mere survival of an animal is in a given situation certainly does not offer a guarantee that with it these qualities will also be preserved. This is so because there is no room for a conscious selector in that scheme capable of invariably choosing better characters emerging during the struggle between life and death. The Quranic vision of creation speaks of a universally flawless operative system, controlled to its finest detail, so there is not the least chance of flaws and defects stealing their way into this scheme of things. And then Huzur quotes from the Holy Quran, تبارك الذي بيده الملك وهو على كل شيء قدير الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا وهو العزيز الغفور الذي خلق 7 سماوات طباقا ما ترى في خلق الرحمن من تفاؤت فارجع البصر هل ترى من فطور ثم ارجع البصر كرتين ينقلب إليك البصر خاسئا وهو حصير. So the translation of these verses from chapter 67, verses 2 to 5. Blessed is he in whose hand is the kingdom, and he has power over all things. It is he who has created death and life, that he might try you, which of you is best in best in deeds. Sorry. And he is the mighty, the most forgiving, the same who has created 7 heavens in stages. No incongruity can you see in the creation of the gracious God. Then look again. Do you see any flaw? Aye, look again and yet again. Your sight will only return to you tired and fatigued. Sorry. So the next, then Hazur, he gives next title, which is called a game of chess or a game of chance. And he says that some of the verses mentioned above deal with the same subject, creating the scenario of a guiding hand of a planner who plans and executes with absolute adroitness and dexterity. Each creature of the vast checkerboard of creation is moved square after square to a predetermined destination. This vision of creation leaves no room for an ungoverned and unguided course of evolution. In fact, the entire scheme of things, both biotic and prebiotic, is sketched by the Holy Quran as a coherent plan of order, completely devoid of chaos. Building the same theme of universal order, the Quran rejects the possibility of there being another God who would certainly have clashed with his adversary, turning the order we observe into disorder. So far, the discussion has been introductory. Now we are ready for a detailed examination of the same subjects, chapter by chapter and category by category. So what I said that I don't think that I'm going to take up all the chapters, maybe select parts of them or 1 or 2 that are particularly more of a burning subject, especially about the subject of chance, that everything in creation came together by a process of chance. This is an interesting subject, and this is something which is often when you go into the higher level of education, we learn more about this possibility. But it's very important to know that as a student of the Holy Quran, it may not have been in the past. These subjects may not have been something in-depthly taught or we can say at present in the Islamic world, in the universities, that Islamic universities in the world, that they are actually even teaching the subject of evolution. In fact, if they're doing it solely based on the Darwin's theory, or what they learned from the West. And there might be other universities which are dealing with it, or when it comes to this, they're not even teaching this subject. But in fact, the most amazing thing is that during the time of the promised Messiah, is that this rupture of knowledge that has ruptured in the heavens and come down like rainfall, like a torrent, with so much levels of knowledge of which are giving water to the seeds which were there, and which we do have embedded in the Holy Quran, and they're watering them, and we're getting more and more knowledge from those seeds, which are storehouse of information. And that what basically we should know is that a student of the Holy Quran, is that the evolution is something which is not something that happened by chance. And we do believe, as mentioned before, references to the Holy Quran, that Rabbil Alameen, the Lord of all the worlds, the Rabb means that the one creator who creates, and then he sustains, and he develops stage by stage, so that there is that concept in the Holy Quran. When we understand the meaning even of Rububiyat, the attribute of God, Rububiyat, that this meaning is actually there. The only difference is that where it differs from the common mainstream is that that evolution is not guided by a creator, and in fact, there is no creator who is evolving things. In fact, it is a sporadic, chaotic, chance-like thing which is coming about. So we have to understand that, yes, we do believe, according to the Holy Quran, which explains us and tells us about creation, that it did come into being, and it is evolving. And we have to understand that, but it is a guided evolution. Everything has been, as we just learned in this chapter, as we're very eloquently and very precisely explained, that things are at every stage, they are guided step by step by Allah. And we have to understand that first before we start learning and going into it, because we do not deny evolution. They should understand the difference, and we do not follow this concept that everything just came into being in 6 days, and God just created everything just like that, and so on and so forth. These concepts are not there actually within Islam, and we can understand these things that are misinterpreted from the Holy Quran. And even if we look into the Old Testament, we understand that there is misinterpretations as well, although there are many changes that came about, but we can understand that the periods are not days. They can be hundreds of thousands of years, the period when they talk of days. So similarly, we understand in Islam the same thing. But anyhow, we'll go into that at some other stage. I just wanted to sort of lay the groundwork for that. And I wanted to, just before we end, just as a side note, mention that that we did cover one of the sections from the Holy Quran, which talked about how there are creatures in the universe which Allah has created, which worship Him, and the name for that those creatures are Dabba, and those are, as we use the term, extraterrestrials or aliens. And Hazur gave the observation that we can see that we are in an age where, in the development of technology, that we should be able to get in contact with such type of beings, but it's most likely that it will be communicative, only communicative, meaning that signals and on certain signals that we pick up that they are sending and we are sending to them, rather than actually being able to meet them physically. So I wanted to explain that point, and it's some may I don't want people to confuse the fact that with the common belief that aliens have visited the planet already. They have come here. That is not what the Holy Quran is supported, and is not what we are discussing. There are reasons for different things that may have come or created in this world. This is a completely different subject matter, and we did discuss to a certain degree about the differences of creation that Allah has created, and one is the jinn. But I just wanted to clarify at the end of today's dars that there is a difference between the communication of the aliens, the Dabba, were in the universe, which will happen in the future. And that's a difference. And that's what the Quran talks about with what the prevailing sort of concept about aliens are, that they've already visited. They've already visited this planet. And popular media has used it for fantasy and film and so on and so forth. Even the reason why I wanted to clarify this is that I was astonished that the advancements in human progress, in civilization, were explained away with the visiting of aliens. And I just explained that here. So that people will understand that they should try to look at what is the actual meanings, the actual meaning of the Holy Quran, and then using your intellect and using your mind and using rationality, and also using proof, and not being not being sort of fed some false things, and being persuaded by some false things which are not true. So I just want to explain that historically, historians who are Eurocentric, that is, that they focus on the whole civilization of the whole world that came from Europe, which started from the Greeks. And then later, after everything which every type of civilization, mathematics and arts and sciences and surgery, all these things all came from them, and it was just spread throughout the world. And every other nation outside of Europe was backward, or they learned from them. Europeans or the Greeks. And I just want to explain that what historians have written, which are false things, and they're surprising. And you can even look up these things, even find documentaries on YouTube that are there, which where there are actually scholars in the 60s and 70s who claim this thing, that they say that, and I give that example, that where some 2,000 or more years before, the civilization the Greek civilization, the Egyptians built the pyramids, and they built pyramids in such a way that even today they're astonished on the technology, and they cannot believe on how they were so advanced mathematically to derive at such a high skill of building and constructing. And only the way in which they can explain this, because they say the Greeks were ahead of them with mathematics. They were ahead of the Greeks in mathematics. This was what it proves. And so what the scholars they try to say, the historian Eurocentric scholars historians try to say that, oh no, there were aliens that had come to this planet, and they are the reasons why they had brought their technology, and they built the pyramids, and they also built other types of civilizations like the Incas and so on and so forth. And they explain away this with this alien theory that they already came to this land. But when it comes to the European civilization advancements, that's set aside. But for all those things which were developments of by societies before the development of European society, even the Muslims' development of map making and knowing the Atlantic Ocean before, and also knowing North America before Columbus. They had a map, and even they mentioned that this map must have been made by an extraterrestrial, a map which was made before Columbus. So using your mind, your brain, understanding and looking at everything from every proper perspective, we can see that, of course, Columbus got the knowledge from the Muslims. He was guided by the Muslims. This is a completely different subject, but I'm just trying to give a perspective so that we from the Islamic perspective, that where we believe aliens came from, or where they are. They're not presently here with us. They didn't come to this planet yet. We may be in contact with them in the future, but it'll only be through communication ways, through sending signals through satellites and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to clear that up and bring that up so that people will understand, and they could tell their children, and even those who are listening who are interested in that subject, they can also know about it and not get these two matters confused. Okay, Jazakallah. So thanks for everyone for being with me today. Allah bless you all. Keep safe. Inshallah, we'll continue next week in the regular times. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.